Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees for our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav class. So, in the last couple of weeks, we were discussing from chapter 26, 27, 28, wherein even little before the chapter 25 also, wherein having understood that there are three bona fide means of attaining perfection, that is
characteristics of
Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Of the three, Bhakti Yoga is the most auspicious path and most suitable path for Mother Devhuti. Like that, Lord Kapila indicated. Then Mother Devhuti requested Lord Kapila, okay, if the Bhakti Yoga is what is more suitable for me, then please tell me what is Bhakti Yoga, how to practice Bhakti Yoga. And also, since there are two other methods also awarding perfection, please briefly talk about them also. Just out of curiosity, I want to know about them. So like that. So in the chapter 25, Lord Kapila talked about Bhakti Yoga. In chapter 26 and 27, Lord Kapila talked about Jnana Yoga. How by practicing Jnana Yoga one attains liberation. And then in chapter 28, Lord Kapila also talked about how by the practice of Ashtanga Yoga one attains perfection. So this way, the three processes of perfection have been briefly introduced or briefly outlined in the previous 2.5 chapters. Now in the 29th chapter, Lord Kapila will describe the qualities of bhakti affected by the gunas and pure bhakti, as well as giving respect to living beings according to their gradations and the power of time, etc. So now in the current chapter, today onwards, we'll see that some more details about bhakti which were not mentioned in chapter 25, Lord Kapila will mention here now. According to the nature of the practitioner, some people who practice bhakti might be in the tamoguna, might be in rajoguna, might be in sattvaguna. So according to their qualities, the way they practice bhakti will be different. The process bhakti is okay. That is one process. But how different people at different consciousness levels, at different mentalities, adopt the process of bhakti. As a result of that, that bhakti will be designated as tamasic bhakti, rajasic bhakti, and sattvic bhakti. And then the question will come, then what is pure bhakti? So Lord Kapila also talks about pure bhakti. And then, in order to come to this pure state of bhakti, what we are supposed to do? So different angas of bhakti are briefly mentioned, and what we are not supposed to do. So how to be careful, how to guard against the possibility of committing offenses and causing an obstacle to our spiritual progress. That is being indicated in the remaining chapter. And there is a discussion about the time also in the later part of the chapter. So why and how the discussion comes, we will discuss in the future classes, etc. So this is a big chapter, about 49 and 45 verses. So in which first 6 verses, Mother Devoti asks questions about to know some more details about bhakti and other things. And Lord Kapila talks about bhakti in 3 different modes, and he talks about bhakti in pure goodness. And then he talks about what we are supposed to do, what we are not supposed to do in order to attain perfection in bhakti. And then some continued topics of that will be presented. So now, in the first 6 verses, Mother Devahuti going to ask some questions. The answer to those questions will be rest of the teachings of Lord Kapila. Chapter 29, 30, 31, 32. These are all answers to the questions which are going to be asked by Mother Devahuti in the current 6 verses. Having heard about Sankhya and Ashtanga Yoga, Mother Devahuti again desires to know about the process of bhakti with its different types. Since she should perform that process, though she has already heard about, thus she inquires. So in Jnana Yoga, there are 28 elements. There is a detailed discussion about 28 elements. In Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 stages: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So in Bhakti also she heard about Vaidi Sadhana Bhakti, Ragan Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidi Bhava Bhakti, Ragan Bhava Bhakti. Now she is going to ask, so in addition to that, is there anything more about Bhakti? If something more about Bhakti is there, please tell me. And also please speak about Karma Yoga. You talked about Bhakti Yoga, you talked about Jnana Yoga, you talked about Ashtanga Yoga. Now if something is missing about Bhakti, you please speak about Bhakti and also speak about Karma. So Karma will be discussed in the next 3 chapters. Very interesting sections. We will see later on. So now Mother Devahuti is going to ask certain questions. Devahuti Yeah, one of you can unmute and repeat.
देवहूतिरुवाच
Lakshanam Mahadadinam
Lakshanam Mahadadina. Can I, Prabhuji?
Prakrite Purushas. Yeah. Prakrite Purushasya cha.
Lakshanam Mahadi Prakute Purushasya cha.
Swarupam Lakshate Misham.
Swarupam Lakshate Misham.
Yena tat Paramarthikam.
Yena tat Paramarthikam.
Yata Sankeshu Katitam.
Yata Sankheshu Katitam.
Yennulam tat Prachakshate.
Yanmulam ta prasachakte.
Bhakti Yogasya me margam.
Bhakti Yogasya me margam.
Bruhi Vistarasa Prabho.
Bhuhi Vistarashah Prabhu. Translation. Dehuti inquired, My dear Lord, you have already very scientifically described the symptoms of the total material nature and the characteristic of spirit according to the Sankhya system of philosophy. Now I shall request you to explain the path. Now I shall request you to explain the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical system. Hare Krishna.
Here, Mother Devati is saying that, Oh Lord, please tell me in detail about the path of bhakti, which is the root cause of the knowledge of the characteristics of Mahatattva and other elements, as well as Prakriti and Purusha, as told by you according to Sankhya philosophy, by which their very natures are known in mutual divisions. So, Sankhya Yoga talks about 28 elements: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Mahatattva, Ahankara, Man, Buddhi, Panch Jnanendriyas, Panch Karmendriyas, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Panchamahabhutas, and 5 Tanmatras. But in order to understand them properly, in order to appreciate them, one should have little bhakti. That's why it is said that Yen Mula Tat Pratyakshate. If you want to know about them properly, the root of the cause of understanding all of them is Bhakti Yoga. It is by the Bhakti Yoga one can understand them properly. So in that way. So you spoke about Jnana Yoga in detail, Ashtanga Yoga in detail, consisting of various divisions like 28 elements and 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga and all. But the source of understanding this Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is Bhakti Yoga. But you are not talking about Bhakti Yoga like that elaborately. So now please speak about that Bhakti Yoga elaborately, by which one can understand the Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga properly. So like that. You have described the characteristics of the elements such as Mahatattva, by which their very natures in divisions are known. Now, Similarly, you should tell me about bhakti, the root cause of knowledge of those elements, without which they cannot be known. Please tell me in detail about the path of bhakti, which is the root cause of the knowledge of Sankhya. So basically, yeah, you spoke elaborately about Sankhya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. So similarly, speak about elaborately about Bhakti Yoga. Though you spoke about Bhakti Yoga, but there must be many more things. So you please speak about them also. So this was the first inquiry from Mother Devavati. So then, fine. You have the knowledge of Bhakti Yoga, you have the knowledge of Jnana Yoga, you have the knowledge of Ashtanga Yoga, and according to Lord Kapila, Bhakti Yoga is very much suitable for people like us who are very simple. So then, in order to begin that Bhakti, one needs a little attachment. So to practice Bhakti, we need to have little attachment from this material world, little attachment to Supreme Lord. Now, how do we get detachment from material world? So keeping that in mind, he's asking second question. Virago yena purusho
Virago yena purusho
bhagavan sarvato bhavet
Bhagavan sarvato bhavet
achakshva jiva lokasya
Achakshvali jivalokasya
vividha mama samsmriti.
Vivida mama samsriti. Devati continued, my dear Lord, please also describe in detail, both for me and for people in general, the continual process of birth and death. For by hearing of such calamities, we may become detached from the activities of this material world.
Yeah. The intention is, in order to begin bhakti, we need to have little detachment from this material world. But how can we get detachment from this material world? Understanding the terrible nature of this material world, we can become detached from this material world. That is what she is asking. Oh Lord, please describe to me the various births and deaths of the living entities. Jiva lokasya vividha samsmriti. We generally say na samsara. Samsara means nothing but the cycle of repeated birth and death is called samsara. Samsara word comes from Samskriti. It is another word in Sanskrit. Samskriti, samsara. So please describe to me the various births and deaths, the repeated cycle of birth and death of the living entities. For by hearing about them, a person becomes completely detached from this world. Purusho sarvato virago bhavet. There is a possibility that when we hear about this, the repeated cycle of birth and death, we may become detached. Intelligent person will definitely will become detached because we endeavor a lot to accumulate more and more things. But at the time of death, we need to give up everything. Again, we take birth. Again, we endeavor to accumulate more things. Again, we have to give them up at the time of death. Again, we take birth. Again, we endeavor to accumulate more things. So this thing is going on. Whatever we accumulate with hardships does not stay with us for long. It has only fixed duration of time. Beyond that, it is no more ours. So when a real intelligent person understands this, the intelligent person does not become too attached to this temporary material existence. Instead, he inquires if this is temporary, if there is something permanent. If there is permanent, why I should not endeavor for the permanent? Why I should endeavor only for this temporary life after life repeatedly? That will be the question of an intelligent person. So Mother Devati is asking that, yeah, please speak about the samsara, the repeated cycle of birth and death of the living entities, hearing which people become serious for practicing bhakti. So now, this question will be answered by Lord Kapila in the next three chapters. Chapter 30, 31, 32. The samsara of a living entity in the mode of ignorance in chapter 30. Samsara of a living entity in the mode of passion, chapter 31. Samsara of a living entity in the mode of goodness, chapter 32. So these three chapters are very good chapters. So in the Bhagavad Gita, we study the three modes. What are the three modes? How the three modes will influence us? So what kind of different activity that we perform in three modes, etc., etc. Briefly mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. What kind of mentality, what kind of destiny, what kind of activities, what kind of food habits, what kind of other things, yajna, dana, tapa, and determination, karma, jnana, understanding, happiness. All these things are briefly introduced in the Bhagavad Gita in three modes. Now, the whole life of a person in the mode of ignorance, the whole life of a person in the mode of passion, the whole life of a person in the mode of goodness are being described pictorially, graphically in this chapter. So this will better help us. Okay, ignorance means this is. There we studied in principle, but here we will see in detail. So after seeing the details, at least one should develop some detachment. That is the understanding. That is the intention with which Mother Devoti is asking this question. Please describe about the various birth and death of the jivas, hearing about which a person becomes completely detached from this world. Please tell about samsara, by whose explanations one becomes detached from this material existence. So this is the inquiry. So one thing. First, we need to understand what to practice, and then second, in order to practice that, we need to have little detachment from this material world. Otherwise, our whole time goes in accumulating things in this material world. And then, in order to remain serious while practicing bhakti, one should have the fear of passing of time. So, in order to inspire that fear by which one can become serious, Mother Devahuti is going to ask about the power of time, which will inflict some kind of urgency, some kind of determination, some kind of fear within the heart of a sadhaka. So that is mentioned here. कालस्तेश्वर रूपस्य
कालस्येश्वररूपस्य
परेषां च परस्य ते
परेषां च परस्य ते
स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति
स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति
यद्वेतो कुशलं जना.
यद्वेदो कुशलं जनाः. Please also describe eternal time, which is a representation of your form and by whose influence people in general engage in the performance of pious activities. Hare Krishna.
Please also describe the nature of time, a form of power, one of your forms, controlling even great persons like Lord Brahma, out of whose sphere people perform auspicious activities. Time invokes fear in everyone. So, therefore, please speak about the power of time, which is Ishvara Rupasya, another form of the Supreme Lord. Please describe about the nature of time in whose sphere people perform auspicious acts. Here, auspicious acts, from our point of view, we should take it as bhakti. Tad heto kushalam jana. And having understood the power of time, one becomes serious in practice of time, bhakti. Also explain about time, which is one of your forms. By fear of time, people perform auspicious activities. So these are the three questions asked by Mother Devahuti, and answering them, Lord Kapila responds in these 4 chapters. In the first chapter, that is 29th chapter, the first part, Lord Kapila will explain about the details of bhakti. In the second part, he will talk about the power of time. The next 3 chapters talks about the samsara of living entity in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. So with that, Lord Kapila will conclude his teaching. Now, after asking these questions, Mother Devahuti will say that Only you can answer these questions. No one but you. So that she will say in this verse. Lokasya mitya bhimatera chakshusha
लोकस्य मिथ्याभिमतेरचक्षुषा
chiram prasuptasya tamasyanashraya
चिरं प्रसुप्तस्य तमस्य नाश्रये
shrantasya karmashu vidyadiya
श्रान्तस्य कर्मस्वनुद्विद्धया धिया
Kama virashi kila yoga bhaskara.
Kama virasi किल योगभास्करा. Translation: My dear Lord, you are just like the sun, for you illuminate the darkness of the conditional life of the living entities. Because their eyes of knowledge are not open, they are sleeping eternally in that darkness without your shelter. And therefore, they are falsely engaged by the actions and reactions of their material activities, and they appear to be very fatigued. Hare Krishna.
You, the sun, the revealer of the lotus of bhakti, jnana, and yoga, have appeared in this world for destroying the denseness of material identity. Mithya abhimater, otherwise we can say mithya ahankara. In order to destroy our mithya ahankara, the Supreme Lord Kapila appeared as a sun in order to blossom the lotus of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. 3 lotuses: white lotus, red lotus, pink lotus. So, like that, we can take. Giving light to the blind. As a result of that, we, all the Kali Yuga conditioned souls who are submerged in the darkness, Lord Kapila appearing as sun, giving us some light, some hope, waking up those sleeping in samsara, and drying up the pool of exhaustion caused by thoughts of attachment to action. Karmashu anuvidhaya diya. The people in this world in general are conditioned to perform activity, are conditioned to get more and more acquisition, material acquisition, are conditioned to look for more and more material sense gratification. And this kind of situation is called as deep darkness. So, in order to wake us up from that conditioned state where complete attachment to material sense gratification, in order to fulfill that, fully absorbed in material activities, in order to wake us up, in order to show the real path of perfection, the real path of real happiness, the Lord appeared as the sun and he blossomed the 3 lotuses: red lotus, white lotus, pink lotus, so that we can take the shelter of those lotuses and experience the beautiful fragrance of those lotuses, thus become completely happy. So that is the attribution, that is the identity of Lord Kapila. You have come as the sun for those who are suffering due to false identity, who are completely blind, who are sleeping in samsara, who are exhausted due to attachment. So, what was the verse in Bhagavad Gita? Yanisha sarvabhutanam pashyamti jagrati samyami. So, an introspective sage is awake while rest all people were sleeping, and he sleeps when other people are awake. So the people in general in this material world are awake, matlab they are active for material sense gratification, and the devotees are sleeping for that. Another way, the devotees are very much active for going back home, back to Godhead, and which is not at all concerned with, considered by the materialistic people who are sleeping for the spiritual progress. So something like that. Oh my Lord, you appeared for destroying the false material identity, mithya abhimana or mithya ahankara, for giving enlightenment, for destroying darkness of sleep in material life, for drying up the pool of exhaustion caused by the thoughts of attachment to action, because you are the revealer of the lotus of bhakti, jnana, and ashtanga yoga. So it's like that. The conditioned souls, सब लोग थके हुए. So for sense gratification, by working very hard, they're all frustrated. They're all tired. So in order to enthuse them, enlighten them, show them the right path of perfection, right happiness, you have appeared as the sun to reveal us the blossomed lotuses of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So this is how Mother Devahuti inspiring Lord Kapila. Hare Krishna, all of you are able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Any questions?
No.
So now Lord Kapila will respond. Maitreya Uvacha.
मैत्रेय उवाच
Iti maturvacha slakshnam.
इति मातुर्वच श्लग्नं
Prati Nandya Mahamunihi.
प्रतिनन्द्य महामुनिः
Avabhase Kuru Shrestha.
आबभासे कुरु श्रेष्ठ
Pritastam Kurunarditaha.
चितस्तां कुरुनार्दितः. Translation. Sri Maitreya said, O West among the Kurus, the great sage Kapila, moved by great compassion and pleased by the words of his glorious mother, spoke as follows. Hare Krishna.
So Maitreya Muni is telling that. So before Lord Kapila spoke, what was the physical disposition? How Lord Kapila responded to the inquiries of Mother Devoti before you would actually speak? What was his physical response? Emotional, not emotional, what you can say, the external response. O best of the Kurus, O Vidura, welcoming the gentle words of his mother, being pleased, Preeta Manaha, and filled with complete compassion, Karuna Ardita, Lord Kapila spoke to Mother Devahuti. Mahamuni Tam Abhavase. Pleased with his mother's words, Lord Kapila starts to respond with compassion. So now, Lord Kapila will answer all the questions. In this chapter, he will answer first and third questions. The next 3 chapters will be for answering the second question. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Bhakti Yogo Bahuvido.
Bhakti Yogo Bahuvidhu.
Margair Bhavini Bhavyate.
Marger Bhamini Bhavyate.
Svabhava Guna Margena.
Swabhava Guna Margena.
Pumsham Bhavo Vibidyate.
Pumsam Bhavo Vibhidyate. Translation. Lord Kapila, the personality of God, replied, O noble lady, there are multifarious parts of devotional service in terms of the different qualities of the executive.
Yeah, as per 3 modes, Bhakti can be seen in 3 different modes. Bhakti appears in many forms by particular actions in a person according to one's intentions. The intentions of men are classed by the actions of the gunas arising from one's own Svabhava. Lord Kapila has already spoken of pure Bhakti beyond the gunas. So in the 25th chapter, Lord Kapila already defined what kind of Uttama Bhakti Mother Devahuti and all of us should practice. This is basically the definition of Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. Devanam Gunalinganam Manushravika Karmanam Sattva Evaika Manaso Vritti Swabhavikituya Anamitta Bhagavate Bhakti Siddhe Dhariyasi. So basically, Bhakti to the Supreme Lord without material desires, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, composed of actions of the Lord, actions of the senses, to reveal the sense objects related to the Supreme Lord, Anukulena Krishnanushīlanam, and which conform to Guru's instructions, Mahajeno Yenagat Sapanta, with mind determined exclusively to the Lord, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, and which include actions on the spontaneous level, Bhava Bhakti, is superior to liberation. Siddher Gariyasi. Anyabilasha Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam, Anukulena Krishnanushīlanam, Bhaktir Uttama. So, Devanam Gunalinganam Manushravika Karmanam is Anyabilashta Shunyam. Sattva Evaika Manaso Vritti Swabhavikituya is Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam Anukulena Krishnanushīlanam. Animitta Bhagavati Anukuli Krishna Anushilanam and Bhaktir Siddher Gariyasi. That is basically this Bhakti which will bring one to Bhava platform. That Bhava is much superior to Sahajya Mukti. So that was the definition of Bhakti given by Lord Kapila many ages back, which Rupa Goswami recently gave us in the form of this simple definition. Now the Lord Kapila speaks about Bhakti contaminated by gunas. So this is the definition of pure Bhakti, without any contamination of the three modes of material nature. This is pure Bhakti, which we can also call it as Nirguna Bhakti, Bhakti beyond the influence of three modes. But the same Bhakti, when it is influenced by three modes, how does it transform? How does it translate to? How do the people define that Bhakti and practice that Bhakti in three modes? Bhakti Yoga is of one nature, is known to have many forms with particular methods, according to the intention of the particular person. That intention becomes classified by differing actions of the gunas arising from one's nature. Though Bhakti in its essential nature is beyond the gunas, Bhakti by nature, it is supposed to be called as Nirguna. When the Shastra defines Bhakti, Bhakti is defined as Nirguna. Bhakti activities are all in the purview of Yoga Maya. That's why they are called Nirguna Bhakti. But other sadhanas such as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga, they are all part of Sattva Guna. So, these other yogas, Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, are all not part of Nirguna actually. They are all part of Saguna. They are all part of Sattva Guna. By practicing these processes, one can at most have the realization of Atma. By practicing Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and also Nishkama Karma Yoga, one may realize that one is Atma. But it is only by the practice of Nirguna Bhakti one will realize Jnana Yoga. One will realize the Supreme Lord completely. Whether the Supreme Lord may be in his feature known as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan, any of the feature of the absolute truth can be realized only by practicing Nirguna Bhakti, not by any activity within the three modes. So that is the specialty of Bhakti. That's why Bhakti is called as Nirguna. Though Bhakti in its essential nature is beyond the gunas or Nirguna, it becomes called Tamasic Bhakti or Rajasic Bhakti and Sattvic Bhakti. So like that. Bhakti appears in many forms based on the natures of the performer who is endowed with the different combinations of modes. If a person in the mode of ignorance practicing Bhakti, his Bhakti will be known as Tamasic Bhakti. If a person in the mode of passion practices Bhakti, their Bhakti is known as Rajasic Bhakti. If a person in the mode of goodness practices Bhakti, their Bhakti is called as Sattvic Bhakti. But if a person practices pure Bhakti in its pure state, that Bhakti can be called as Nirguna Bhakti. That's how there are four stages, the four types of Bhakti will be discussed in the upcoming verses. So like that. So first, the discussion about Bhakti practiced by a tamasic person. Just like in the next three chapters, it will be talked about karma practiced by a tamasic person. Then the 31st chapter, karma practiced by a rajasic person. 32, the karma practiced by a sattvic person. So like that we have to understand. Now bhakti practiced by a tamasic person. Abhisandhaya yoyim sam
Abhisandhaya
Abhisan-
yohimsam.
sambam mastaryameva va.
Rambam Matsharyam Eva Va
Samrambe binna drigbhavam
Sambrahmi Binna Drigbhavam
mayi kuryata samasa.
Mai Kuryatsa Tamasha. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness.
So this verse is talking about bhakti practiced by a tamasic person. But in that also there are three subdivisions. First one is the bhakti practiced by an angry person. Second, the bhakti practiced by a person who is devoid of compassion. And third, the bhakti practiced by a person with intentions of violence, pride, and hatred is tamasic in his bhakti. So whoever practices bhakti with these mentalities is called as tamasic bhakti. Any examples? Any person who practices
Ravana.
bhakti?
Ravan.
Kansa was
Ravan.
there, one of that.
What did they do? What did
Ravan also,
Ravana do?
Prabhuji.
That's fine, but
He-
explain how.
He was practicing bhakti to Mahadev, Lord Shiva, with certain demands. His bhakti was always like demanding. He wanted more power, more.
Okay, that is fine.
this thing.
But
Yeah.
here we are not talking about somebody who is worshipping Lord Shiva. We are talking about somebody who is worshipping Lord Vishnu.
I don't know.
Here Lord Kapila is telling
Dhruv
worships
Maharaj
me.
Dhruv Maharaj initially worshipped with Sakam Bhakti, na Prabhu?
Forget it. You see the translation here. Give me the examples of someone who practiced bhakti with anger, without compassion, with the intentions of violence, pride, and hatred. Seeing these things, for these three, you think of giving an example and explain.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Kamsa was practicing with anger and it was Virodhi Bhakti.
So what kind of bhakti is practicing?
In ignorance, actually.
No.
He
See, you are not getting. So you are telling
Yes.
he is angry at Krishna, that is fine. And he is practicing
Yeah.
bhakti also, you are telling. How does he practice bhakti? Just by being angry is bhakti?
No, he was angry with Krishna only.
Then you should
He
say he
was-
is simply angry, but he is not doing any bhakti. What bhakti is
Constantly
doing?
remembering.
He was
Constantly
constantly remembering
Yeah,
Krishna.
that you should take. That is Smaranam.
Ah.
He was performing. One of the 9 angas
Smarana.
should be performed. So when one executes one of the 9 angas, then it becomes bhakti.
Ah.
It is not
Yeah.
just being angry. So he was
He
constantly
was
meditating.
actually trying to harm
told.
also.
Yeah. Fine. Other examples? Without compassion, with the intentions of violence, pride, and hatred.
Hiranyakashipu.
Shishupal.
You tell us how also. Don't tell the names.
He is
How
constantly
Shishupal?
remembering Krishna with envy.
Envious nature.
Okay, fine. Or what was
He
who is the
also-
next person?
Prabhuji, he was continuously remembering Krishna, Hiranyakashipu, but in angry mode, and he was even trying to, he wanted to harm Lord Vishnu also. If it was in his अगर उसकी ताकत होती तो वो लॉर्ड विष्णु को हार्म जरूर करना चाहता था.
Okay, fine. Good. So all these things are there. And also we can see one more person, hatred, Daksha. Daksha is also kind of, we will see in the fourth canto. He is considered to be an example of bhakti in the mode of ignorance, because he was envying Lord Shiva and trying to perform his bhakti in his own way to show himself superior to others. So something like that. Now, any contemporary examples? These examples are Shastric examples, they are fine. But in the modern day context, how do we say this? What kind of persons are practicing this kind of bhakti? How do we understand in our case? Are we in tamasic mode or not?
Prabhuji, we should judge ourselves whether we are practicing with anger or any demands. That we have to look into ourselves.
Okay. So what do you mean by I have anger? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, on the internet we can see many websites which are constantly trying to defame ISKCON, the senior disciples, senior devotees. I mean, they keep a track of all the activities they have done, but in a malicious way.
Okay. Fine. Okay, good example. Those people who are constantly criticizing. Okay, finally, are we fall in this category? Do we fall in this category?
No, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
We don't
Prabhuji.
fall.
Never.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We don't.
Sometimes, or
Sometimes.
maximum time.
Sometimes,
For me, it
we
is the
get
maximum
angry with
times.
Lord. When we are so much frustrated, we get angry. Ki, why this with me? You are not looking after me.
Who is not looking after us?
Prabhuji, when a devotee like me, we get frustrated by life's problems, too much frustrated, then we ask Lord, now why this with me?
Okay,
तुम्हारा
that is
ध्यान
fine.
नहीं है क्या?
But
भगवान से को हम बोलते हैं ना.
how frequently we become angry with Lord, and how frequently we become angry with our fellow devotees, with our family members, with people in front of us, which is more?
Both are rare, but it happens sometimes.
So you might
Very
be a
rare.
great, you are a very great person. So for you it is
No,
very rare.
प्रभु जी नहीं, ऐसी बात नहीं है, but ठीक है, जिंदगी सिखा देती है. ठीक है. It's okay.
See, now the later
Actually,
part of this
Hare
chapter is
Krishna.
all about this only. Yes, bro.
Actually, after some time of practicing bhakti, Prabhuji, actually when some followers make some followers, we are trying to supposed to exploiting them and use for our own self. So that is also tamasic bhakti, na? I think.
No, forget about others. You talk about yourself. Do we sometimes subject to these things?
Certainly, Prabhuji, होगा हमारे अंदर भी.
Okay, fine. But I can say होता ही रहेगा. Certainly नहीं, surely always होता रहेगा. Are we without pride completely? Are we without hatred completely? Are we without violence completely? Are we without compassion? Are with complete compassion? We don't become angry at all. Not only against devotees, but against any living entity, any person. Kindly remember these things. The later part of the chapter is all about that. There, what bhakti is explained, and compare that bhakti with these things. Then we'll understand. Chalo, let's go ahead. So, the performer of bhakti in the mode of ignorance, angry, devoid of compassion, worships the Lord with the intentions of causing violence to somebody else, to express one's own great position, pride, and to express one's envy upon others, to show one's superiority compared to others, something like that. First, tamasic bhakti is described. One should not say that bhakti becomes tamasic. Rather, the particular person in discussion is tamasic. Bhakti is not tamasic. But when bhakti is performed by a tamasic person, that bhakti can be called a tamasic bhakti. See, for example, one will go to temple and offer some flower garland, some coconut, some dakshina to the Lordship with an intention to perform bhakti. Sits in the temple, hears some bhajan, listens to some harikatha, but when it comes to the prarthana, there may be some burning issue. Here, my neighbor is torturing me so much, troubling me so much. He should die. He should die, or he should get some trouble. This that. Sometimes one may pray like that. So that is because of with the desire to cause violence to somebody else. Something like that. So in that way we can see at divide of compassion, no compassion. Sometimes we only pray for ourselves, for me, for me, for me. I should get this. I should get this. I should get this. No compassion for others. In front of our eyes, there are thousands and millions of people are suffering. So we are not praying for their suffering. We are only worried about our own well-being. That is without compassion. So something like that. And sometimes when things are not happening the way we want, we become angry with Lord only. Then what to speak of becoming angry with our family members and others? Obviously, we become 100 times angry with our family members. And sometimes once in a while, we also become angry with the Lord. Why? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? ऐसा क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? So like that. So that kind of bhakti is tamasic bhakti. He is angry. He does not see the happiness and distress equally in himself and others. He is without compassion. We generally are worried about our own distress and our own happiness, and we are not considerate about the happiness and distress of our fellow being. So, in that way. So, with the goal of violence, pride, and hatred, the angry person with no compassion performs bhakti, then that kind of bhakti is called as tamasic bhakti. And this thing is also to me only. Lord Kapila is telling that he is not telling about people worshipping Ganesh ji, Shiv ji, Durga Mata, and other things, other devatas. Even those people who come to me with this kind of mentality, and their bhakti should be considered as tamasic bhakti. So there is a discussion about these three divisions of tamasic bhakti in Bruhan Naradiya Purana, which says the first category of tamasic bhakti. He who worships with faith the Lord with the goal to destroy another person has tamasic bhakti of lowest grade. The worst kind of bhakti is one is practicing bhakti for the destruction of somebody else. Praying to the Lord constantly, that person should get like this, that, like, that is the lowest grade. The second case is he who, like a prostitute, worships his master with cheating mentality as tamasic bhakti of medium grade. That means he comes to Lord, give me this, give me that, give me this. Once he gets, and he never looks after the Lord. Because he wants something, he comes to the Lord, when he receives that, gone. And no more looking at the Lord. He is like medium category person. And at least within Tamasa Tamoguna, the good person is he who worships the Lord in a competitive mode after seeing Devata worship has highest type of tamasic bhakti. At least this person, he does not want to harm others and he does not want fulfillment of one's own material desires. Instead, he is just performing by looking at others worshipping other devatas. Like very soon, we are going to have Ganesh Chaturthi. The whole everywhere all over India, people are busy putting the deity, the Murti of Ganesh ji and performing the Ganesh ji Vrata for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 9 days, 11 days, some places 15 days. So they perform very strictly, and in other cases also. And then Navaratri, Durga Devi, they 9 days they do. So like that. So some people will see, oh, you are worshipping Ganesh ji, you are worshipping Shiv ji, you are worshipping Durga ji. I will also worship. I will worship Vishnu. So like that. Just to showcase oneself as a devotee in the community. So oneself does not have desire to continue as a devotee, but because everyone is doing something, I will also do something. So at least he does not have any malicious desires of others against others, and he also does not want anything for himself. He just want to practice for some time to show that he is also a devotee. That kind of bhakti is tamasic bhakti, but at least better than other forms of tamasic bhakti. So like that. So these are three divisions of bhakti in the mode of ignorance. Next, the
Hare Krishna,
rajasic
Prabhuji.
bhakti. Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, here it is, who is separatist means what?
Separatist means हमारा हाथ
What?
में सेपरेटिस्ट मीन्स हमारा हाथ में प्रसादम प्लेट है, रास्ते पे भीख मांग एक आदमी, वो भीख मांग रहे बट हम प्रसादम खा रहे हैं. Separatist means who is only worried about one's own happiness, not concerned about others' distress and happiness. That kind of person is called separatist. So whatever I do is only meant for me. I have nothing to do with other people. So something like that.
So, Prabhuji, during performing bhakti value, so if you think that I am performing bhakti for own purification, then it will be separatist.
See, bhakti is not only about purification. Bhakti also includes various other things. Now, see, the purification word comes in Sattva-guna. You are already gone to Sattva-guna. When you are already talking about Sattva-guna, there is no Tamoguna mentality. Tamoguna mentality will be there in Sattva Tamoguna only. The separatist mentality will be in Tamoguna only. See, it is very simple. Tamoguna to understand is a person only concerned about his own happiness. So the lowest grade person want to get happiness by looting others, by torturing others, by killing others. One want to get happiness.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
And second person, in spite of having something more than what one need, and in spite of seeing somebody who needs something and he does not have anything, still he says, no, hey, mera, I cannot give you anything. So, matlab, no compassion. So there are so many people suffering in front of us, and one is a wealthy person, but he does not offer a small charity also. That is called separatist mentality. The lowest person is, I will destroy you for my enjoyment. Second person is, I will enjoy. I am not worried about your suffering. And a little better than is, matlab, he is not seeing others suffering also. He is only in his own world. So in that way, it's like he just the third person we see, na? He who worship the Lord in the competitive mode after seeing Devata worship at the highest step. At least in this person, he might be like, okay, the moral kind of, okay, he may help others, but he is only interested in his own name. He might be helping others to get name and fame, not concerned about helping others in real sense. Something like that, we can say. So he's practicing bhakti, not to practice bhakti, but to get the name that I am also a devotee. So like that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Prabhuji,
Ah.
our demigods worship, they are supposed to be tamasic bhakti or what?
Again, why demigods worship you are coming? There is no, we are not talking about demigod worship. The distinction is only about he who worships the Lord.
Okay.
It is all about worshipping the Lord.
Okay.
Even in Devata worship also there are three categories. Tamoguni worshippers, Rajoguni worshippers, and Satoguni worshippers. Now we are talking about the divisions in bhakti. And Devata worship is called Upasana. It is not called bhakti. So in that way.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, ये जो Christian and Muslims, those who are worshipping the Lord, they are bhakti or that is also upasana?
See, we are discussing the characteristics of different people in different states of consciousness. Once let us do all the three categories, then you see who fits in which category. Accordingly, you can evaluate one person. Okay? We are not done with all the three modes. Currently, we are done with only one mode. We will do other two modes, and then we can see. Okay, there are total 9 categories. In these 9 categories, who is fitting where? Even we can check ourselves also. Where I am fitting currently? In which bhakti I am there? Lowest tamasic, medium tamasic, good tamasic. Lowest rajasic, medium rajasic, good rajasic. Lowest sattvic, mid rajasic, mid sattvic, and good sattvic. So like this, 9 divisions are there. In those 9 divisions, where do I am situated? Where do others are situated? That evaluation we can do.
Okay.
So now, Rajasic Bhakti. Vishayanabisandaaya
विषयानभिसन्धाय
Yasha Aishwaryameva va
यशा ऐश्वर्यमेव वा
Archadau Archayedyo Mam
अर्चादौ अर्चये यो माम्
Prutak Bhava Sarajasaha.
पृथग्भावः स राजसः. The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion.
Yeah. Again, there are 3 categories in the mode of passion also. He who worships me in the forms of deities and other with desire for other objects. Prutak Bhava Abhisandaya. The next category with goals of material gain. And the next category for fame or wealth as Rajasic Bhakti. So here we have 3 categories. Those who worship the Lord with a desire for other objects, with goals of material gain, for name and fame and wealth, they are called as devotee in the mode of passion. Their practice of bhakti is not to harm others and not to purify themselves, but to get something immediately. So this is the most common mentality of typical Indians. Whenever we Indians go to temple, we fall one of these 3 categories. We want something other than the Supreme Lord, or we want some immediate material gain, some job, increment in job, good wife, good children, children's good grades, good admission in good college, and such kind of things. And also curing of the health and coming out of the problems, like that. And sometimes some name and fame, etc. So such kind of, if one practices bhakti with such kind of desires, that is called Rajasic Bhakti. Pratak Bhava means he has desires for objects other than the Supreme Lord. We are going to the Lord and we are not asking the Lord, and we are asking something else. My dear Lord, please give me this, please give me that, please give me this. So instead of asking, my dear Lord, I want you. So that kind of bhakti is called as Rajasic Bhakti. Now, finally, Sattvic Bhakti, the third category. Within that, 3 categories. Karma Nirhara Muddishya Parasmin Vatadarpanam
परस्मिन् वा यतद् अर्पणम्
Yajed Yashtvayam Itiva
यजेद् यष्टव्यम् इति वा
Purtak Bhava Satvikaha.
पृथग्भावः स सात्विकः. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the result of his activity in order to free himself from the inebrities of future activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness.
He who worships me with a desire to destroy karma making his works as an offering to Supreme Lord. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yajjuoshi tadashyat yat tapashyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. And then swakarmana tamabharcha siddhim vindati manava. Yajnartat karmano anyatra karma lokoyam karma bandhana. Yagnashishta shinashanto muchante karvakil vishay bhunjatete agam papa ye pashanti atma karanat. In order to free from the karmic reactions, one offers all one's karmas to Supreme Lord so that one is not entangled in the future bondage, future karmic pious or impious bondage. That kind of person's bhakti is called as sattvic bhakti. And second, one executes one's varnashram duties as a matter of duty. Because Shastra is telling me that I am supposed to practice these duties. And I execute all these duties only as a matter of duty, but not for my own sense gratification. That kind of person is also in the mode of goodness. And finally, the best person in Sattva-guna is the person who practices bhakti for the purpose of getting liberation, attaining moksha. So these are the 9 categories of bhakti in 3 modes. He who worships with the intention of destroying karma, like karmic reactions, he worships in such a way that all his actions are offered to the Supreme Lord, and he performs bhakti of hearing and chanting, but filled with offering of occupational duties. So he knows when I do some activity, there is some reaction, I am bound by the reaction. The only way not to get bound by the reactions is yajnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Or neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayuna vidyate swalpamapi yasya dharmasya trayato maya. Not this. Karmanya vadikarasya ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala yeturbur mate sangos sakarmani. So he performs all the karmas and offers them to Supreme Lord. Think, with the desire that I should not be bound by the results. This is the first category. And second category person, he worships out of duty, having obtained rules for daily rituals. Karmanya eva adhikaraste. Because I am a human being, I have been born in a particular family, particular culture, I have been situated myself in a particular varna and ashrama. So I need to perform the duties of that particular varna or ashrama because Shastra says so. Not for the results, but as a matter of duty, one should perform. So that is called Sattvic Bhakti. He worships while performing his ashrama duties, thinking that his worship is similar to his execution of ashrama duties. So like that. He performs all varnashrama duties, but as a matter of duty. Because I have been born and trained in this family in this way, it is my duty to do all these activities. And he does not enjoy the fruits of those actions. So like that. This is as a matter of duty. He had the desire for liberation. And the third category of person in the mode of goodness is he does everything for the purpose of attaining liberation. So these are the 9 divisions of bhakti. The topmost is one who practices bhakti for the purpose of attaining liberation. The bottommost is one who practices bhakti for the destruction of somebody else. So now, please evaluate yourself or ourselves where we are situated among these 9 divisions. Anyone would like to say?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, sometimes tamasic, sometimes in ignorance, sometimes in passion, and sometimes in sattvic. It's all
Yeah.
mixed, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's what we have to understand. Currently, ours is like Ghanatarala. Sometime here, sometime there, here, ऊपर नीचे चलता रहता है. So slowly, we should rise from the bottommost situation to the topmost situation and step ahead, enter into Nirguna Bhakti. That should be the goal of life. Like that. Anyone else? Okay. Now,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, like we do have all these characters, like we have anger, we have this passion, but we don't have this goal. No, we don't perform bhakti to destroy or even to gain name or fame. We have this conditioning, but we philosophically we understand that we need to perform bhakti only for the sake of pleasing Krishna.
How long we are in that thought? That is fine, that thought is there. But out of 24 hours, how many seconds, how many minutes, how many hours do we have that thought process? And how many seconds or how many minutes and how many hours we have one of these 9 thought processes? Or sometimes without any thought.
But that goal is not there. No, I don't want to destroy anyone. I have anger, I have this violence tendency, but I'm not performing bhakti to destroy anyone. This is my conditioning.
Okay.
I see them as anartha.
Okay, no problem. Please remember that later on we will discuss the future verses. We'll see what the future verses will talk about bhakti. What do you mean by bhakti? Will be explained in the future verses. Then you correlate what you say.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, bro.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, this generally we have heard so many times, and in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also say that bhakti is beyond modes. That is transcendental in nature. So if the devotee has such type of 9 categories mentality, so is that with due course of time, Lord has removed all this type of mentality? Suppose somebody is worshipping the mode of ignorance. So by the mercy of the devotional service or the Lord, he can transcend that and come to the mode of transcendental position.
We can again say 50-50.
Yeah.
It will happen by Lord's mercy and it will also happen by our endeavor. Both we need. It is not one way only always. Unless until we express our desire to overcome that, Lord will not help us to overcome that.
Okay, means we have to show I don't want to this quality.
Yes.
Means our free will we have to give.
Yes, perfect.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. In this mercy of pure devotee, does it have a role to play for elevation?
Of course,
it
is by mercy of some devotee only we start the practice in this. We are doing. But while doing, these are our motives, these are our intentions, these are our ambitions. To begin bhakti, to progress bhakti, we need mercy always. That is always there. But people at different levels, they utilize the process of bhakti for attaining their personal motives in 3 modes. According to the mode, the motive severity will vary.
Okay,
So like that.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, ये जो है 9 जो है, वी आर ऑलवेज इन, कभी हमको लगता है हमको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, कभी लगता है मैं इतना भक्ति कर दूं, वही मूड स्विंग होते रहते हैं हमारे इवन भक्ति में, इवन व्हाइल चैंटिंग आल्सो वी गेट, पहले 6 राउंड बहुत अच्छे होते, फिर भाग के, तो हाउ वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड वेयर वी आर स्टैंडिंग, क्योंकि सबका मिक्सचर ही होता है मोस्टली। तो
simple. I mean, it's, see, one may say that, like Prabhuji is saying that, though I have anger, but I'm not angry always. Though I might have some intentions, but I'm not always like that. That is there. Though I have all these tendencies in me, conditionings in me, but I am not practicing bhakti for all these things. I am practicing bhakti for the Krishna Prema. Because we are hearing so much about Krishna Prema, we are kind of molding ourselves in that particular direction. But though we are trying, we may not be always like that. But we are not talking about ourselves only. We are talking about in general the people whom we see all over. So from that way we should see, and we should also try to evaluate ourselves. Are there sometimes do we manifest some of these traits? So in that way. So those traits may not be always. If they are not always, that is a good condition. That is the meaning of Anna Abhilashita Shunyam. There Srila Rupa Goswami did not use the word Anya Abhilasha Shunyam. Uttama Bhakti means there should be no other desires. Currently we have 9 desires. So if the definition would have been Anya Abhilasha Shunyam means none of these 9 desires should have been there. But Rupa Goswami uses Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. That means prominently one should not have other desires. Other desires may be there once in a while here and there, but prominently there is a desire to serve the Lord. The most
Or serve the Guru.
Yeah, Lord, Guru, and all the Vaishnavas in that way. When you say Lord Sadhya is automatically included in that. So like that.
And sometimes we are doing mechanically. हमें भी दीक्षा हो गई है तो जप करते ही रहना है, भागवतम बोला है तो पढ़ना ही है, but there is no other motive. बोला है इसलिए कर रहे हैं, तो how we can categorize that?
That can be one of these two. As a matter of duty we are doing, or we are doing it because we have taken a vow, so we are doing it. So that is our we have been born in a particular family. We need to do family occupation. Even though we don't have any inclination, but we have to do that occupation. So currently initiation means we have entered into a family. The family activity is chanting. So we are doing it without interest. So as a matter of so if we don't do, we are committing sin. So we are afraid of sin. So we are doing it as a matter of maybe as a matter of duty, or so since we have to do it, we are doing. So slowly we need to progress, but at least you are in this category. So it is not that one is doing chanting because one want to get fame, wealth, or any other material goals or fulfillment of material desires. Is anybody doing for this?
No.
Or is anybody doing for these things? So what does chanting and hearing because others are chanting Om Namah Shivaya, so I will chant Oh Hare Krishna. Is it like that? Just to show that you chant, I can also chant. Or just to cheat somebody, or just to cause harm to somebody. So like that, we have to see where we are standing.
So it is all means कर्म मिश्रित भक्ति हुआ ना, ये सब चीजें तो शुद्ध तीनों गुणों के अंदर ही आया ना ये सब भक्ति.
Whatever, it is called Sakama Bhakti. All these 9 types of bhakti is called as Sakama Bhakti. We are practicing bhakti with a desire.
Okay.
Nishkama Bhakti means without any desires in relation to the material world.
Okay.
Except this one, except the desire to attain liberation, remaining all 8 categories should be considered as Sakama Bhakti. But our Acharyas say even this is also a desire. Even asking for liberation is also a desire. That's why it is also called as Sakama Bhakti by Acharyas.
Thank you.
The 9 types of bhakti, 3 tamasic, 3 rajasic, and 3 sattvic, are known as Sakama Bhakti, are successively superior. Sattvic bhakti produces some sort of knowledge. So, practicing bhakti to cause harm to others, to destroy others, all the way up to practicing bhakti to get liberation, these are gradually progressing in order. So, by the time when one comes to this point, one of these 3 states, then that means one has proper sufficient knowledge. What bhakti is all about, why we should practice bhakti. At least we should practice bhakti not to get entangled by karma. That means we should understand what karma is, what do you mean by entanglement, what happens after entanglement. there is some knowledge, and understand about the duty, the importance of duty. Karmanyavadikarasya ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur mate sangossa karmani, and means what? Why one should do all these things? There is that understanding is there, and one should practice bhakti for the attain liberation. Then there should be knowledge about what do you mean by liberation, why one should ask for liberation, why one should endeavor to attain liberation. That means there is knowledge. But in the other 6 cases, even without that knowledge, one can do. Because they are all, I mean, anybody can go to temple and offer coconut and ask the Lord, my Lord, please give me this, please give me that. If you give me, I'll come back again, break 108 coconuts. So, उसके लिए कुछ knowledge जरूरत नहीं. So, like that. So, as one progresses from the bottommost to topmost, the knowledge will develop. Such kind of bhakti will produce knowledge. Sattvic bhakti, bhakti in the mode of goodness will produce knowledge. We understand what is what, and whatever we are doing, why we should do. That understanding will be there. When jnana is secondary and bhakti is primary or predominant, the such kind of bhakti is called as jnana mishra bhakti. If one practices jnana mishra bhakti, which produces shantarati beyond the 3 gunas. So when one practices bhakti in the mode of goodness in one of these 3 categories, finally coming to this category, one develops desire for liberation, and one attains liberation as well as shantarati. One attains Sahajya Mukti, and one remains in peaceful existence, continue to meditate upon Lord's pastimes. That is what happens. And then, if jnana predominates the bhakti and bhakti is secondary, bhakti being a mere anga of jnana, it becomes bhakti mishra jnana. That is called jnana yoga. So when bhakti is secondary element but jnana is prominent, that is called jnana yoga, that produces Sahajya Mukti. So these people who are practicing such kind of bhakti only for the purpose of getting Sahajya Mukti, they will get Sahajya Mukti anyway. And others, Shantarati, one part of Shantarati is there in Sahajya Mukti, other part of Shantarati is also there in Vaikuntha. Those who get Sarishti or Salokya, most of them are in Shantarati. So they may not want to serve the Lord directly always. This point we discussed many times. So they are there like suburban people, Nala Sopara, Kalyan, Dombiveli. So they are there. They somehow they can come to temple on Sunday or on festival days, and they just want to immerse themselves in the festivities. No active service. But we have come from so far. हम थक गया. हमको शांति से बैठ के ऐसे हाल में बैठ के क्लास सुनने का, अभिषेक देखने का, कीर्तन भाग लेने का, बस उतना. Something like that. That is called Shantarati. So service begins from Dasya. So in that way we can understand. So Jnana Mishra Bhaktas get Shantarati, either in Vaikuntha or in Sahajya, and Bhakti Mishra Jnanis will get Sahajya. And then if Bhakti mixed with karmas means the first category, this one. He who worships with the intention of destroying the karma, and he worships in such a way that all his actions are offered to the Supreme Lord. He also performs bhakti of hearing and chanting, but filled with offering of occupational duties. So this is called Karma Mishra Bhakti. So one performs all one's varnashrama duties as an offering to Supreme Lord. Yat saroshi yadashnashi yajyoshitashi tattapashati kauntesha tattaruchamadharpanam. Otherwise, yajnatat karmano annetra lokoyam karma bandhana. So like that. Such kind of person, what will happen to them? Bhakti mixed with karmas, such as horse sacrifice with a desire for material gain, with some offering of actions and attachment to the results, but not offering all actions, produces salokya liberation with the happiness and powers. They get Sukha Aishwaryottara Mukti. They will also enter into Vaikuntha, but they only get Sarishti Mukti, Sarishti or Salokya, because they are not interested in serving the Lord. So they stay in Vaikuntha at a far distance, but they get all the Vaikuntha opulences. Because that was their desire. So in that way, accordingly they get the result. And then, if one performs bhakti and offers some karmas without desire for results, that is called karma mishra bhakti. Such kind of bhakti produces shantarati. So here they are primarily practicing bhakti along with practicing the varnashrama duties, but they offer some of the important varnashrama duties to Supreme Lord. Not all the duties, but important duties. Such kind of people eventually attain Shantarati, because they are like the performers of their karma as a matter of duty. So they need to do. They are in the family. They need to do. They are in a particular varna and ashrama. They need to follow all the varna duties, ashram duties. They get Shantarati. So Rajasic and Tamasic Bhakti produces results. They generally get material results. However, the results will be greater than usual because of the power of Bhakti. So now one of the Mataji was asking about Devata worship. So the people sometimes they go to Devatas with the same desires to harm other, to get some material name, fame, material gain, material fulfillment of blessings and all. Yes, they are approaching the Devatas and somebody is approaching Vishnu. So both of them get the fulfillment of desires, but those who come to Lord Vishnu, they get the fulfillment of desires in a better quality way. Along with that, there is a possibility of gradual purification, gradual, quick purification in comparison to the Devata worshippers. Because whoever comes to the Lord says, Udara Sarva Evaite. He could have gone anywhere, but he came to me. That's why he is Udara. So to such a person, even though this person has come to me asking for some material gain and fame and name, but I will give him my own lotus feet. By tasting the nectar of that lotus feet, eventually this person will forget his material desires and come close to me. In terms of yielding devotional results, in some cases such bhakti will, with time, becomes pure bhakti. Because the Lord awards his own lotus feet, such kind of devotees eventually become purified of their material hankerings and they can become sattvic devotees. Like that. That is indicated both in Bhagavatam and also in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna kaye amabaje mage vishesuk. Amrita chadi vishamage ei bada murka. Amivignya ei murka vishake badina. Sacharnamrita diya vishaya bulaiba. Yeah, this person somehow came to me but asking for vishesuk, asking for poison. But though he does not know that what he is asking is poison, but how can I give poison? Because he is in ignorance, but I am not in ignorance. So even though he is not asking for something which is useful, I will give him my lotus feet, tasting which he will forget his material desires. So like that. So this is what it is. The Lord certainly gives the fulfillment of the desired objects to those devotees who request them. But he does not give in such a way that the devotees will ask again after finishing his enjoyment. The Lord gives his own lotus feet, which includes all desirables, to those worshippers who even do not desire the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, even though they did not ask. Ichchapi danam nijapada pallavam swayam vidatte bhajatam anichatam. Even though they come to Supreme Lord asking for the fulfillment of material desires, but Lord gives his own lotus feet, even though they did not ask for. That is the greatness of Supreme Lord. So this is how the bhakti is better in comparison to Devata worshippers. In Devata worshippers, we don't have this advantage. So like that. So these are the 9 types of bhakti. And then there's a 10th bhakti, which we can call it as the pure devotional service. The Uttama bhakti, Ananya bhakti, Akinchana bhakti, Nirguna bhakti. That is explained in the next 4 verses. Madguna Shruti
Hare Krishna,
Matrena.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, please can you explain the Shantarati of Vaikunta? So the Shantarati means the plants or the flowers, and what do you mean by? And you said
Everywhere.
about the
Shantarati includes the abode, the plants, the flowers, fruits, animals, insects. They are mostly in Shantarati.
And Prabhuji, Sarshti and Salokya also you told that some people of this Karma Nishta also get. So what I didn't get that point, Sarshti and this thing.
So this
Salokya.
this was discussed in Bhagavad Gita also, but the point here is, so some come to Supreme Lord like this. See this one. Krishna kahe amibaje mage wishes. Some come to Supreme Lord saying that, my dear Lord, I will practice bhakti from today onwards, but you need to fulfill my desires. They come to Lord for the fulfillment of desires, but eventually by keep coming to the Lord again and again, their desire to fulfill their material ambitions will go away. Eventually they become purified of their heart and they take to pure bhakti. Such kind of people will get Vaikuntha liberation, but Sarishti. Because even though here they are purified of their material ambitions, but their desire to serve the Lord is not so intense. They want to serve the Lord, but not 24/7. They want to serve the Lord indirectly or directly, sometimes whenever possible. So such kind of desire lead to this one, Shantarati or Sarishti Mukti. Salokya or Sarishti Mukti.
Sarishti means
See,
Lord
here,
yeah.
Sarishti is simple. Here we go to temple and we ask that, so my dear Lord, I am not getting job, please give me a job. So we are asking for a job so that we are economically stable, economically we are in secure condition. That is a desire for some kind of wealth. So Sarishti means one gets wealth in Vaikuntha. Not wealth in the material world, but one gets full wealth in Vaikuntha.
Yeah.
So that's called Sarishti.
So that means the Vaikuntha Vasis who are there may be Jnanamnishta Bhakta or Karmanishta Bhakta. That means yes, no, Prabhuji, then.
No. In
Then
Vaikuntha
Prabhuji.
also all the category of devotees are there.
Okay,
So
okay.
I only mentioned about Sarishti Salokya. There is another Mukti also, no? Samipya Sarupya.
Yeah.
They are Uttama Bhaktas. They want to serve the Lord regularly, 24/7. This Sarishti Salokya, yeah, we will serve the Lord, but on Sundays, not every day. Whenever possible. Otherwise, we'll provide all the facilities we sponsor so that all of you do services. That is also bhakti. They are facilitating, but they may not be directly involved so much regularly. But Samipya Salokya, not Salokya, Samipya and Sarupya, minute by minute, they are in direct service.
Okay, Prabhuji, I got it. Okay.
Like
so
that.
there are different types of people of this mentality in Vaikuntha too, who has this type of. Okay, Prabhuji, I got it now. Yeah, thank you.
So even Sarishti, Salokya also have service mentality, but not 24/7. Yes, yeah, we'll serve. We want to serve you, my dear Lord. Dire dire. But Salokya, Samipya and Sarupya, pujaris. Early morning से late night तक वो continuously भगवान का प्रत्यक्ष सेवा चलता रहता है. Like that.
Okay, Prabhuji, got it. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
No
Hare
sound,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
No sound.
Cannot hear Prabhuji. Cannot hear your voice.
Prabhuji, no sound. Haribol.
Okay. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to see me and hear me?
Yes,
Only
Prabhu.
here, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
We can
Yes,
hear
Only
you
here,
now.
Prabhu.
Okay. See in the sense slides.
Yes.
You are able to see the slides?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhu.
okay. Thank you.
Ah.
Thank you. Some internet issue. So, yeah, that is the point. So, but anyway, we'll go to the next 4 verses, we'll get some better clarity. So, Madguna Shruti Matrena
Madguna Shruti Matrena
Mai Sarva Guhashaye
Mai Sarva Guhashaye
Manogatirani Avichinna
Manogatir Avichinna
Yata Gangamba Sombudau
Yatha Gangambhaso Mudhau
Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya
Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya
Nirgunasya Hi Udarutam
Nirgunasya Yudaratam
Ahetuki Havyavaita
Ahaituki Avyavaita
Ya Bhakti Purushottame.
Ya Bhakti Purushottame. Translation: the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. If at all we have any traits of the previous 9 kind of desires, 9 kind of intentions, we should slowly overcome them and we should come to this point. This is the kind of bhakti which Lord Kapila is recommending all of us to do. 11, 12, 13, 14. These 4 verses talks about the same Uttama Bhakti which Rupa Goswami described in Bhakti Rasamr Sindhu, which all our acharyas are expecting that all of us should practice this bhakti. What kind of bhakti is that? Because the mind, by hearing about my qualities, mat guna shruti matrena, just by hearing about the Supreme Lord, our mind should flow continuously to Supreme Lord, residing in the hearts of all people, just as Ganga flows to the ocean. And that kind of bhakti is called as Nirguna Bhakti, in which there is absence of results other than bhakti unto Supreme Lord and lack of expressions from other processes. Kindly understand. Just by hearing about the Lord's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, though it is Gunamat, only Guna is mentioned here, we can take the glories of Lord's holy name, holy form, holy qualities, and wonderful pastimes. Our mind should be attracted to Supreme Lord just like Ganga flows to the ocean. No one ever stop Ganga, flow of Ganga. We cannot stop it. Whatever may be the big bridges we may keep, but we can never ever stop the flow of Ganga going to the ocean. Like that, one's mind should go to the Supreme Lord continuously, not like okay, 1 hour in a day, okay, morning 2 hours while chanting. In the 2 hours, also 50% for Lord, 50% for my planning. Not like that. Continuously 24/7 into 60 into 60 into 60 60 like that. Whatever you can go into small time scale. So such kind of bhakti is called as Nirguna Bhakti, in which There is no results other than bhakti. So why you are practicing? People ask, yeah, you people are always going to Sundays. Every Sunday you are going to temple. And what kind of prayer you make to the Lord? So do you ask for some job, some good wife, good husband, good children, good education for children, all these things? No other desire. There should be only one desire. Bhakti. We practice bhakti to be able to practice pure bhakti or more bhakti. That should be the only desire. No other desires. There should be complete absence of other desires other than bhakti, and there should be no obstruction because of other process. Other process such as karma, jnana, etc. should not block our bhakti. Mind continuously flows to Supreme Lord. It is ahetuki. It is not performed for anything else to get. It is aprahtiya. It is not stopped by anything in this world. And this bhakti is also similar to annabhilasha shunyam. So one to word comparison you can see. Annabhilasha shunyam is ahetuki. Jnana karmadi anavrutam avyavayita. Anukulena sarva guhashayam. Krishna Purushottama Anu Madguna Mana Gati Avichinna. Continuous flow like Ganga. Shilanam Madguna Shruti Matrena. Shilanam means here Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, all these things. Of course, Shravanam is mentioned, it includes everything. Bhakti Ruttama, Nirgunasya Bhakti. So, in that way. Because the mind, by hearing about my qualities, flows continuously to me, the Supreme Lord residing in the heart of every living entity, Paramatma as Paramatma, just as Ganga flows to the ocean. Such kind of bhakti is called as Nirguna Bhakti. And such kind of bhakti does not have any desire other than the bhakti unto Lord. And such kind of bhakti is not obstructed by any other things in this material world. Such kind of bhakti is called Nirguna Bhakti. Because the mind flows continuously to me, just by bhakti with hearing and other process beyond gunas, the quality of bhakti is said to be ahyutuki and apevayita. By doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam and also Smaranam, the result should be our mind should always think about the Supreme Lord. What was the verse? 5, 6, 7, chapter 8, text number 7. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhicha. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu, at all times, at all places, mam anusmara, continuously think of me. That kind of bhakti is called as Uttama Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti. Just as the water of Ganga, even though turned back by ocean's waves, heads into the ocean. The mind flows only to me, though allured by me with offerings of kingdoms, Arishti, Salokya, and other results. So we see so many devotees in the Bhagavatam, whenever they worship the Lord, Lord appears and Lord says, my dear devotee, please ask for a benediction. Like Lord is telling Dhruva Maharaj, Lord is telling Prithu Maharaj, Lord is telling Prachetas, Lord is telling Prahlad Maharaj, is telling, ask for a benediction. They say, no, my dear Lord, I don't want. Nanaka Pushtam, Nachasarvamun, Naparameshtam, Natasadhipatyam. So everyone will say, no, we don't want any benedictions. Lord actually tempts them. I am ready to give you anything. Swarga Pavargam, Maddama, Katanchi Dedi Vanchati. They will get everything they want by my bhakti. But they say, we don't want anything. We don't want anything. Nothing, even including Sarishti, Salokya, and other things. The mind of the devotee, like the Ganga, is swift, cooling, pure, and worthy of worship. They say that, no, we just want to serve you. We just want to be in the association of your devotees. Nothing we don't want. We don't want Swarga, we don't want Apavarga, we don't want sovereignty over this material world or anything. We just want the association of your devotees, the opportunity to hear about you, and opportunity to serve you. That's all. What are the bhakti's qualities? It is devoid of having other results in mind. It is not like jnana or yoga, since it is independent of other processes, and it is itself the result. So for jnanis and yogis, in order to attain complete perfection, they need bhakti. But for bhaktas, in order to attain perfection, they don't need karma, jnana, yoga. They just have to practice bhakti. Bhakti itself is the sadhana, bhakti itself is the goal. So in that way. That's why it is called ahetuki apratihata. Ahetuki. Bhakti is the process and bhakti is the result. Sadhu Sangha and Prema, first and 12 stages of bhakti, should not be considered as a cause and effect. So when you say Hayatuki, this bhakti is not, it has no cause. It is not meant to perform to get something in return. Bhakti is performed to perform bhakti only. So in the first chapter, first canto, second chapter, while describing the bhakti, Sutta Goswami talking about what bhakti is all about. Based on those verses, Srila Vishnu Chakrit Pagur says that there are 14 stages in bhakti. Satam Krupa, Mahasevam, Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, and Hari Darshana and Hari Anubhava. So like that. So 14 stages are there. Of the 14 stages, the first stage is Satam Krupa. So or Ajnat Sukruti, we can say, na? Satam Krupa or Ajnat Sukruti. When we get opportunity to serve some sadhus without our knowledge, that is their Krupa upon us. That creates Ajnat Sukruti within us. As a result of that, we have or Mahaseva, we can say, that is called Mahaseva, not Satam Krupa. Mahaseva. Mahaseva leads to Satam Krupa. So that Mahaseva will lead to Sadhu Sangha. Eventually, Sadhu Sangha, Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, and Bhajana Kriya. Finally, it comes to the 12th stage known as Prema. So Mahaseva is not the cause of Prema. Mahaseva is also Bhakti, and Prema is also Bhakti. It is one state of Bhakti is awarding another state of Bhakti. Bhakti itself is awarding higher state of Bhakti. So Bhakti has no cause, and Bhakti is not performed to get something other than Bhakti. So in that way, Bhakti is called as Ahituki. The 14 stages are mercy of the devotees, Samkrupa, service to devotees, Mahaseva, Ado Shraddha, and Guru Padashraya, and desire to worship, and then Bhakti is Bhajan Kriya. Here Bhakti means Bhajan Kriya. Desire to worship Guru Seva, or we can say this is Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, Hari Darshana, and Hari Madhurya Anubhava. These are the 14 stages which are mentioned in the first canto. Okay, chapter 6, 25 to 27 also, and first canto, chapter 2 also they are mentioned. So in that way. This bhakti is unobstructed, devoid of blockage by jnana or karma. Jnana karma adi anavrutam. This means it is beyond the three gunas. That's why it is called Nirguna Bhakti. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 11 explains that the devotee who is the abode of faith and bhakti, the happiness of bhakti and other items are beyond the gunas. So some of you might think that, okay, why you are calling bhakti as nirguna? So, but we are not in nirguna, we are all in three gunas only. We are practicing bhakti and we are calling our bhakti as uttama bhakti. So when our bhakti becomes nirguna, such kind of doubt we may have. So, but in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, while talking about three modes, he talks about different things in three modes. But in the Uddhava Gita, Lord Krishna, while talking about three modes, he also talks about activities in the mode of nirguna state. So there he talks about the four states of activities. Satvika Karako Sangi, Ragando Rajasa Smruta, Tamasa Smruti Vibrashto, Nirguno Mad Apashraya. A performer of action who is free of attachment is in sattva. Asangi, one performs activity but not interested in the results. He is sattvic performer. He who is overcome by the sense objects is in rajas. He performs activities to get the results. Raga Ando is only interested in results. And who is devoid of inquiry is in tamas. Tamasa smriti vibrashto. He does what he is doing, why he is doing, he does not know only. He is only interested in sense gratification. In that way. But he who has taken shelter of me alone is beyond the gunas. Sarvadharman Partyajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja is in Nirguna state. Satviki Adhyatmiki Shraddha, Karma Shraddha tu Rajasi. Tamasi Adharme Ya Shraddha, Mat Sevayam tu Nirguna. The faith in Atma is in Sattva-guna. So one who is in Atma platform and performs all the activities on the Atma platform, that purifying one's own self and performing the duties as a matter of performing all one's varnashram duties as a matter of duty, or performing a bhakti to get liberation, that is on the platform of Atma, Adhyatmika Chetsa. And then faith in prescribed karma is in Rajas. In Rajoguna, they are very work, they say work is worship, work करने का बस भगवान को पूजा पाठ जरूरत नहीं, वर्क करो आपका सभी अभिष्ट पूर्ति हो जाएगा. So like that. Faith in religion is the activity of tamas, and the tamasi adharme hi shraddha. The faith of people in the mode of ignorance is in adharma, but faith in my devotional service is beyond the gunas. So those people who have complete faith and bhakti, they are beyond three gunas. So like that. To make clear the meaning illustrated by the example of Ganga water, Lord Kapila explained the lack of material desires in the devotees who have pure bhakti by the method of Kaumutika Nyaya. So in the current verse, it is said that by hearing about the Lord, one's mind should constantly flow to the Supreme Lord and there should be no other desires other than bhakti. So what do you mean by no other desire? And what do you mean by Ganga only flowing to the ocean? What exactly it means? The meaning will be elaborated in the next two verses. So having no other desire means Salokya Sarishti Samipya.
Salokya Sarishti Samipya.
Saruppaikatvam Apivuta.
Sarupyaikatvam Apyuta.
Dhiyamanam na grunanti.
Dhiyamanam na grananti.
Vinamassevanam jana.
Vinamatsevanam jana. Translation: a pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, Salokya, Sarishti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The devotees do not accept na grunanti. What they don't accept? Living in my planet. That means Salokya Mukti. Having similar powers, Sarishti. Staying close to me, Samipya. Or having a similar form of mind, Sarupya. Then what to speak of merging in me? That means entering into Brahma Sayujya. When these things are offered, the devotees do not accept. When they will not accept? Unless it involves service to me. If these things are offered without any service opportunity to Supreme Lord, none of the devotees will ever accept it. If there is a service opportunity, they are ready to go to hell also. So that is the intention of the devotees. They reject even the personal forms of liberation if they are devoid of service to me. The devotees do not accept even spiritual benedictions, even if these are offered. What to speak of accepting material things? Prahlad Maharaj was offered, my dear Prahlad, please come to spiritual world. Prahlad said, no, I will not come now. Unless until all the conditioned souls are delivered, I will not come. That is Uttama Bhakta. They do not accept them without service to me. If there is some service, I will come. Otherwise, I have a lot of service here. This means that if some devotees do accept these things, they accept for serving the Supreme Lord. Yes. Yes, Prabhu, you are saying something? So it is like that. Salokya means living on the same planet as the Lord in Vaikuntha. Sarishti means having the same powers as that of the Supreme Lord, same opulences and same powers of the Supreme Lord. Samipya means staying very close to Supreme Lord. Sarupya means having a form similar to Supreme Lord. Ekatva means entering into the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, Brahman or Brahmajyoti. Like that. So even though these five topmost liberations are offered, a devotee will not take if there is no service opportunity. The devotees are only interested in serving the Lord or executing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedam, etc. These things only the devotee will always want to execute in the association of other similar like-minded devotees. Like that. If somebody has any questions, we will take after this verse because all four verses are connected together so that we have complete picture. And finally, if somebody they may ask, then what do they perform? Why do they perform bhakti? Abhi, if they don't want to go to Vaikuntha also, then why are they performing bhakti? किसके लिए practice कर रहे bhakti? Like that one may ask question. The answer is Saeva bhakti yoga kya
Sayeva bhakti yoga kya
आत्यंतिक उदाहृतः
आद्यन्तिक उदाहृतः
येनातिव्रजते गुणम्
येनातिर्व्रज त्रिगुणम्
मद्भावायोपद्यते
मद्भावायोपपद्यते. By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage, as is the Lord.
The highest state of existence is called bhakti, prema bhakti, by which one surpasses the three gunas. Yena ativrajya three gunan. Mamchayo avyapicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya alpate. By which one surpasses the three gunas and attains prema from me, for me. So why they are practicing bhakti? They are practicing bhakti only to get love of Godhead. Mad bhavaya upapadyate. To get prema bhakti. That was the only purpose for which the devotees practice the different things of bhakti. By such a practice, one surpasses the three gunas and attains prema for the Supreme Lord. They perform bhakti because it gives the highest result and the most excellent result, that is Atyantika. But Atyantika means merging. Other places, Atyantika word is used for merging into Brahman. But here, the word Atyantika is not called as Brahman, but it is called as Bhakti. Bhakti Yoga Kya. It is known as Prema Bhakti. But sometimes Bhakti is also defined as Apavarga, Brahman, and Nirvana. So even these words, which are generally used for Sahajya Mukti, but many places they are also used for indicating Bhakti. Some of the examples we can see here. Apavargascha bhavati yosau bhagavati ananya nimitta bhakti yoga lakshana. That Bhakti Yoga, that devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, is the real path of revelation. The real Apavarga is Bhakti Yoga. Bhagavati Ananya Nimitta Bhakti Yoga. It is Bhagavad Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, Nimitta Bhakti, and that Bhakti is called as real Apavarga. Second example, Tad Brahma Nirvana Sukham Vidur Buddha. Those who are wise understand the real happiness of Brahman or Nirvana. So we always talk about Brahmananda, Brahmananda, Brahmananda. But Sanskrit, that particular language, though it is saying something, it actually meant something else. That's why we say, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Rajavidya Rajaguyam. Bhakti is Rajavidya. That's why it is kept as secret. Even though sometimes it is said that Rajavidya, the Brahmananda, Brahmananda, Brahmananda. But the real Brahmananda is that Ananda which is experienced by the Prema Bhaktas while serving the Supreme Lord. That is only the most intelligent people understand this, the real happiness of Brahman. Harav Aikantikim Bhaktim Moksham Ahur Manishina. The wise, Manishina means the most intelligent people say that pure bhakti to the Lord is called moksha. Normally, when we say moksha, that is means Sahajya Mukti. But the highly intelligent people who know the essence of the Veda, they say that real moksha is Prema Bhakti. Bhakti rasya bhajatam tad iha amruta upadi Nairashyam amusmin mana kalpanam etad eva nishkarmyam. Big definition. Bhakti to the Lord means worship concentrating the mind on the Lord with rejection of objects of this world and the next. Iha Amruta Upadi. Iha Upadi or Amruta Upadi. Iha Upadi means the current Upadi. Amruta Upadi means the Upadi in Swarga. After death, one may go to Swarga. In Swarga, one may get some Upadi, some position. So one should not be aspiring the Upadi here in this material world as a human being, or some Upadi in the Swarga, heavenly abodes. That kind of Nairashen Amushmin, without any such kind of desire. Okay? Bhakti to the Lord means worship concentrating the mind on the Lord with rejection of objects in this world and in the next. It is the state without karma. It is called Naishkarmyam. Tadeva Naishkarmyam. There is no execution of material duties. Naishkarmya Vyachuta Bhava Varjitam Nashobate Jnana Malam Niranjanam. So this is from Gopala Tapani Upanishad. But liberation from the bondage of three gunas alone is famous as the final result. But all the Vedas talk about moksha to be liberation from the three modes. Yes, that is true. That is a byproduct of bhakti. Thus, the verse says, by bhakti one surpasses the three gunas. Surpassing three gunas is only a byproduct of bhakti, but that is not the real result of bhakti, the real goal of bhakti. Real goal of bhakti is to attain prema bhakti. So currently, we are practicing bhakti, but we are subjected to the influence of three gunas. So sometimes we are practicing tamoguni bhakti, sometimes rajoguni bhakti, sometimes sattoguni bhakti. By that practice, slowly, when our heart is getting purified, our misgivings are broken into pieces, and our aspirations are only to serve the Lord. We actually bypass the influence of three modes, and we come to the platform of bhava and prema. So before coming to the platform of bhava and prema, one is already overcome the three modes. That already happens, by the way. But the final goal of bhakti is come to the platform of prema bhakti. So like that. But surpassing the three gunas is achieved without seeking it. Then simply by taking shelter of the Lord's feet, the ocean of samsara becomes as small as the water in the calf's footprint. And by that bhakti, one attains prema directed to Supreme Lord. Madbhavaya vadate. Madbhavodi gachati. So like that. So getting rid of three modes is the byproduct. But the real result of practicing the Uttama Bhakti is coming to the platform of prema. After one comes to the prema platform, what one gets? One gets two things here. After coming to prema, what one gets is two things. What are they? Constant Hari Darshana and constant Hari Madhurya Anubhava. One is continuously will be able to experience Hari Darshana, because that means once one come to prema, one will be taken to Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, one will be constantly seeing the Lord Vishnu, and one will be constantly serving the Lord. As a result of that, one is constantly experiencing Madhurya Anubhava, the nectar of tasting the pure love of the Supreme Lord. So like that. So this is how the Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti has been defined against Bhakti performed in three modes of material nature. So it's like that. Yeah, yes, some devotees had some question.
Prabhuji, you said the result of pure bhakti is prema, and what are the byproducts, Prabhu? What did you say?
Byproduct is going beyond the influence of three modes.
Okay. Okay.
Any other devotees have any question?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So like that, we have total 10 options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th one is Nirguna Bhakti. and we can evaluate ourselves where we are located, where we are situated among these 10 levels of bhakti. So, and we can also see others where the others are located. Basically, we should not judge them, but we can see where one is located. We can try to understand and progress further. So then, having defined bhakti in different divisions, bhakti in 10 divisions, now Lord Kapila will talk about, okay, this is the definition of bhakti. So then, bhakti means Savanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Along with that, there are so many things. Like Sri Rupa Goswami talked about the 64 Angas of bhakti. So among the 64 Angas of bhakti, some important Angas, the do's and don'ts, etc., are briefly summarized here from 15 to 20. These verses talks about what, having understood what bhakti is, having started practicing bhakti, what one should be doing, what one should not be doing. So these are briefly mentioned. We'll just read through the 15th verse and we'll stop for today and we'll continue from 15th verse next week. Nisevitena nimittena
Nisevitena nimittena
swadharmena mahiyasa
swadharmena mahiyasa
kriya yogena sattena sastena
kriyayogena sastena
nati himshrena nityasa.
nati himsrena nityasa. A devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities.
The mind should be purified by following varnashrama duties approved by the previous devotees without desire for results and which are favorable for bhakti. So basically, what we are supposed to do, there are certain things, I put them 1, 2, 3, etc. The first one is we should follow the varnashram duties which are approved by the acharyas, and we should perform those varnashram duties without desire for the results and which are favorable for bhakti. Not that every varnashram duty, only those duties which are favorable for bhakti, which are approved by the authorities and which are performed only for the sake of performance, not for results. And by always performing powerful Pancharatrika deity worship with the best choice of items and without unnecessary violence. So the first point is all about performing varnashram duties which are favorable for bhakti. Second point is executing bhakti activities with more eagerness, intensity, and more dedication, and which does not include unnecessary violence. That means little violence is okay, but not full violence. The mind is purified by executing varnashrama duties approved by the previous pure devotees. One should follow the rules of Smriti, varnashrama duties, for purity of the body, cloth, and utensils by earth, water, and other agents, without mantra, suitable for bhakti process like Archana. So whatever is favorable for bhakti, such kind of varnashrama should be followed, especially keeping our body clean, keeping our clothing clean, keeping our utensils clean by the use of earth, water, and other agents. Water is water, earth means soaps. In order to clean our body, in order to clean our clothing, in order to clean our utensils, we use different kinds of, currently we are using soap, but previously people used to use one kind of limestone mud, the soap made of that, and otherwise lemon or otherwise some ash they would use to clean the bartan, clean the vessels, and so something like that, whatever, because in essence that is made up of earth only. So in that way, and water and other agents. So these need to be followed. This is one example. What kind of varnashram it is? That means every day we should take bath, and that bath should accompany some purifying agent. If, of course, water is there, along with water, some kind of organic soap, etc. So
Hare
here,
Prabhuji,
mm,
Prabhuji,
yes.
I didn't understand the violence in this.
So that's what it will come next. What do you mean by violence? And without unnecessary violence. So there will be some violence in whatever do we do. In that also there is some small violence is there. We'll see what it is. Maya ananyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye drudam mat krite takta karmana takta swajana bandhava. So they perform steady bhakti to me with exclusive devotion, giving up all actions to attain me, giving up friends and relatives. Here, there is one statement. By following Varnashrama duties approved by the previous devotees without desire for results and which are favorable for bhakti. So one may say that, no, here you see, Bhagavatam verse is saying that one should do Varnashrama duties. How can Lord Krishna say that Sarvadharman Paritijya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja? Give up all the Varnashrama duties again. That means even Acharyas are saying that in order to purify our mental state, initially we need to practice some Varnashrama duties which are favorable for practice in bhakti. Some Varnashrama duties may not be favorable for practice bhakti also. Such kind of things are there. We cannot deny that also. But we should only select such kind of things. A person who understanding good and bad aspects of dharma as taught by me gives up all his duties and simply worships me is the best of all. Initially, as long as our mind is conditioned, we should follow Varnashrama duties to purify our conditioning nature. But once the mind is purified, one should completely engage oneself in 9 prasa bhakti, Shravanam Kirtanam, no more Varnashrama duties afterwards. Like after retirement, no more worldly duties. Full-fledged bhakti duties or bhakti activities only. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So one should go on preaching and one should practice and one should a certain ideal example. For certain time, we have worldly responsibilities. We can do worldly duties. But after some time, one should fully dedicate oneself to bhakti activities only, either vanaprastha or sannyasi. So like that. That is the best. Thus the mind is purified by the process of Pancharatrika Vidhi, considering what is best in terms of time, place and circumstances. And one should follow this process without excessive violence. So what do you mean by excessive violence? It is understood from this statement that there is no harm in destroying leaves, roots and fruits and small living entities which are hard to avoid or hard to see in preparing various foods for the deity, cleaning the temple and applying decorations on the floor, etc. That means even for worshipping the Lord, we need to offer bhoga. For preparing bhoga, we need to get vegetables. To get vegetables, we need to grow the plants. We need to pluck the vegetables from the plants. That will cause some violence to plants. When we pluck the flowers and fruits and vegetables from the plants, it is kind of little bit violence to the plants. So that is there. When we clean our rooms, there will be small insects are killed, the ants are killed, or small insects are killed, and various things they are there. So that which we cannot avoid. So that will be done. I mean, there is no other way. Then what can be done? So such kind of small things which are unavoidable can be okay, but which can be avoided, but still one is doing that kind of things are not allowed. So that's how this excessive violence is indicated. That means the minimal violence is allowed, but not John Butch ke violence nahi karne ka while executing bhakti. So these are the 2 points mentioned in this first verse, and the remaining points we will discuss in the next classes. So we'll stop here. We are late already. Hare Krishna. Any questions before closing? Okay. So if there are no questions, so we'll stop here. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की जय।
जय
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.